Welcome to the final day of DreamHack. We've got the Smite Masters coming up later this afternoon, but first, it's time for some Paladins. We got SoaR and District 69 facing off for $100,000 and the title of the Paladins Founders Champion. So let's get things started with Rain Day and Vox.
Thank you, Amanda. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, champions of the realm. My name is Rain Day, and standing next to me is my lovely co-commentator, back from the grave, actually.
Absolutely. I mean, I was a little sick coming into this, but thank you, Andy. Hi-Rez Andy with the Dayquil has saved me. I'm back up on stage, and we're very excited to see a phenomenal show match today.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing, and of course, your name is Vox Tempest. He didn't mention that, but I'm going to mention it for him. Today, we've got an incredible game going on. District 69 from Europe facing off against the North American top seed, which is SoaR. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Let's take a look at how they got here. Torpedo Gaming, the #1 seed in EU, was actually upset by D69 3-0 and actually made their way to the finals here. So they are surprising everyone. Let's see if they can surprise SoaR, the top seed, who took a really amazing 3-1 set against Warpath Gaming in NA. Of course, we'll be starting off with Glacier Keep as the first map, going on to Temple Ruins and then Enchanted Forest. The fourth map will actually be SoaR's pick if it goes that far, and then D69, because they are the lower seed, actually the third seed on EU, they will have that pick. Now, SoaR, unbelievable. Let's go ahead and look who they have in this lineup. On your right-hand side, first off, you're going to be seeing one of the most amazing players yesterday in the tournament, Kusqt, bringing out the Kinessa, the Androxus, and the Cassie, just so much. And of course, #1 Barrack, NA, that's WarDoom right there. And he's notorious. No, he's not. He's MOETORIOUS right there, the famous pit player from SoaR. And who can it be? I don't even know what that means, but mykl, that's you, baby. He's got attitude, he's got flair, he's ready to go. And of course, Pcack, the captain, giving the peace signs up. I love it, man. World peace, I like that.
And of course, their opponents today will, of course, be District 69. We'll take a look at those in just a moment. We do have Bugzy, the team captain, on the left here, moving through to the wildcard Russian Elvenpath. In the middle, we do have Shipa. And of course, moving on from there, Perdo, who saw some fantastic Androxus play, King of the Skies in EU yesterday. And then finally, rounding things out with the more recent pickup, Gerrah, who plays a pretty mean Barrack, definitely in contention.
Yeah, now, what was really amazing about today is that obviously with the upset in EU side, Vox, you know, there was a lot of, people curious that D69 was even here. But I talked to Elvenpath today, and he seemed confident. I asked him, hey, you're playing for $100,000. How do you feel? Do you feel confident? He says, I don't really care. And I said, you gotta care, man. Come on, there's money on the line.
Right.
But he really didn't care. I mean, what do you think about this confidence? They seem like they're just going in with a very nice, mentality.
So what it seems to me, District 69, the prize pool is a nice benefit for them, but they're all about the game. They're not just about the bragging rights. They just want to be the absolute best that they can possibly be, and that's fantastic. Those are the kind of people that really help drive these games forwards. And you know what? With an attitude like that, I think they'll go really far. They do, of course, have to come up against the big egos of North America, the team that is SoaR, but of course,
yes, exactly. SoaR, the villains kind of in this Paladin scene right now. Super confident. Let's see if that confidence pays off. We're about to get in the game, and I'm really excited to see what these teams have picked up. On the side of D69, we've got Fernando, Barrack, Androxus, Drogos, and Pip. And on the side of SoaR Gaming, well, we've got Pip, Cassie, Androxus, Barrack, and Fernando. What do you see about these picks, Vox? What stands out for you?
Let me see. So I'm noticing we've got a double shield on one team, got a double shield on both teams. Look at this. mykl has actually picked up Cassie here. That's something which we don't often see.
Right.
And what I really like about what mykl's doing there is he's picked up the burn card, which is morale boost, increasing the rate that your ultimate charges by 40%. That means he's going to have that scout up and available more and more often so he can spot out the enemy team and look to make a good flanking attack.
Yeah, scout obviously allowing your team to get awareness of the enemy team and where they're going as the flank begins to happen here. Looks like SoaR Gaming are actually taking the higher ground here, electing to kind of get the vantage point to shoot down, using MOETORIOUS' potions, launching them down into that area. The high ground so good for Pip, and it looks like the flank is actually coming down. First blood going to Perdo, though, on D69.
It's swiftly followed up. Elvenpath actually going to be around the back on that Fernando, but Pip, we're seeing, looking to get some shots off. Oh, that's somebody very low right there. Wiped out by Cassie. mykl will take out Kangana, but not for Gerrah. Answers back with a kill onto WarDoom, so there's no barrack available for SoaR right now. Do you think that's going to be a deficit to them?
I mean, what's amazing to me is this Cassie is doing work. mykl's already got 2 kills. He's dodge rolled there. Can he find the kill on the barrack? He kills Gerrah right there. That's the 3rd kill for him. Can this be the 4th? 4 kills by mykl in this entire engagement. He is saving his team. SoaR is looking really good right now. Nobody expected this after the amazing Buck play mykl pulled out yesterday. This guy's God pool is getting deeper and deeper.
I mean, we normally expect mykl to be playing these frontliners. We see him on Ruckus, we see him on Buck, but on Cassie, I mean, he's phenomenal right now. You see him being pressured by Pip, will be wiped out there, but very low health did buy his team a good amount of time on the capture point. Now 37 points to SoaR, 32 to District 69. They're going to start to go for the retake here.
I mean, Vox, like, what, you know, this has got to be throwing D69 off a bit. You have to know they prepared for the Buck, how effective it was yesterday against Warpath, and now obviously he's bringing out the Cassie. It's a totally different character. Talk about the mentality that, you know, must be going on in the heads of D69.
Well, you can kind of see what D69 were going for. We know that they do have a Drogoz on their team. Hold that thought as Dragon Punch has been charged, but no, the Defiant Shot takes him down. But exactly, we do have that Drogoz, the one-shot ultimate, one-punch combo that can come through and wipe out the tanky champions like Fernando, like Buck. And now going up against the Cassie, who can really start to shoot them out of the air. That's going to be difficult to deal with. It's a little bit reeling.
Yeah, and it's just unfortunate right now. Cus on the Androxus doing well, but it doesn't seem to be enough. The point still contested, however. Looks like Pcack is there, but he gets taken out, actually, Cus by Perdo. Androxus on Androxus crying. Pcack holding as much as he can, but is it going to be enough? 66, 69 points, 672. It's looking like it's working for SoaR.
Oh, but no, did you see that? The expectorate explosion, that fire spit explosion from Drogoz comes through right there. Takes out Pcack, and the point, well, with 99 points in favor of District 69, it actually goes in their favor. They pick up 2 points now, and they're looking to push this payload all the way to completion.
You know, that was not what we expected, right? SoaR performed so well. They had such an intense game. They bring out this new pick. Cassie gets a quadra kill, and yet they still don't capture the point. D69 is doing something right. And of course, it could be the Drogoz pressure that they brought in. Bugzy, a fantastic Drogoz from yesterday. I mean, that seems to still be working for them.
Exactly, but you do have to be very careful as a Drogoz player when you're going up against an Androxus like Kusqt there. Androxus, very, very good at, well, remaining the king of the skies, taking Drogoz out midair, and it's difficult for them to deal with. So a lot of teamwork is going to be required to keep this Drogoz safe, allow them to dish out all this area damage, and right now, look at the area damage coming back onto District 69 as the payload's being stalled out quite well on this top choke point.
Yeah, Mo doing some great work up there, hitting the air shot onto the Androxus, forcing him away, getting the kill, almost got 3 kills there. 2 members on the side of D69 are very, very low. They're not pushing this payload anytime soon. It seems like this choke point, which we've seen in a lot of other matches, right? It's very, very hard to get by because you have this very small lane that people aren't able to get through, and it just opens you up for cannon fire.
And really, it's all about the high ground control here.
Right.
You can see members of SoaR G2A hold that thought as that was that the Cursed Arm ultimate we just
Yes,
I think it was, but Defiant Shot's actually hitting onto Drogoz midair. Drogoz in a lot of trouble now. It's going to be taken out if one more shot does connect.
Nice.
There we go. Kusqt, king of the skies right now. But as we were saying, it's all about the high ground, right? You get a Pip up there who can barrage the enemy down with those big AoE shots from up on high. It's very, very difficult to push through.
Yeah, and we were so impressed, right, with MOETORIOUS. The reason I call, hey, you shot him in the air. Well, that's not too hard. Well, Pip, obviously, he's got that area damage, so it's much harder to hit his area splash damage kind of ability in the air. So that's very, very impressive. Seeing Androxus and Androxus going against each other here. Kusqt and Perdo having a little bit of who's better in the tunnels. Let's see who gets out of it. Oh, the Defiant Shot taking him down. See you later, Perdo.
Oh, but now look at this. Kusqt is being pressured by Elvenpath. Will be wiped out by a rifle shot actually from Gerrah, but the payload still hasn't moved. It's being kept completely at a standstill. There's 21 seconds left on the clock, and in all honesty, with their defense, I don't see that District 69 are going to be able to push through this. They may have to give it up and concede, looking to go for the capture points in their favor instead of the payload conversions. And I mean, you'll still win off that. You'll still win off that, but it does make it a much riskier game.
Now, mykl just used his ultimate, and it is at 57% already. He literally just used it. So that is what morale boost is doing. We were talking about that, right? He's going to charge it 40% faster on his shots. And so the ability to now, obviously the point defended successfully by SoaR, mykl is going to have that ultimate, not for the beginning of these rounds, which usually people like to do on these team fights, correct?
Exactly, especially versus the Skye, because your scout will reveal Skye while she's in stealth, while she's hidden, and then allow you to effectively set up a counter ambush there. Make sure that your high value high-value champions like Kinessa on your team might be protected. Going into the next point, though, we're about to see where it spawns. Full burn cards actually picked up on the side of SoaR. They racked up a lot of kills, gaining a lot of credits there, whilst we see Elvenpath with only 2. No, there we go. Full burn cards across the board for each team.
Yeah, he was just deciding there at the very last moment. Let's see on the side of SoaR Gaming, mykl MOETORIOUS going on the high ground, looking for the flank, getting a little bit of area damage. Drogo's up into the air. He's getting kind of easily poked out, has to go back into the caverns, and now MOETORIOUS is going to be actually able to get on the point, but he doesn't want to stay on that point. Why did he go for this fight? Well, because he can get some kills, and if you get the kill advantage, well, it's going to be a lot easier to retake that point, or at least start it up for your team.
Exactly. Now SoaR G2A, they're sitting on the capture point. They're getting some, they're getting some cap on there, but on the cursed arm from the skies does wipe out Kusqt. That's Androxus versus Androxus for the kills. Keep on coming back in District 69 favor. There we go. Gerrah's getting towards the point. He does have that mega turret ultimate available, but I don't think he's even going to need it, as the damage from his team is just too much to deal with.
So what we've seen so far is D69 do a very good job at aggressing on the points. They've taken these fights the right way. We saw SoaR actually come in, do well, get the kills, right? mykl got a quad for the first time. Now he's getting some kills here, but they just seem to look to capture too early without finishing off D69 and eliminating the pressure.
A little bit. It's kind of ironic that standing on the objective in this game is sort of what actually gets you killed.
It's taboo.
It's very much about the finesse of playing around the objective, going to make sure that you have the high ground advantage,
right?
Or you maybe have the choke point hold that you need to. But look at this, District 69 once again picking up everybody on SoaR. You can see that we've got an Androxus here struggling to steal with the barricade. The second objective of the game will go in favor of District 69. They now need 4 points to 1.
D69 showing some strong resolve here, making sure that they are known and they are not going to be taken lightly. The 3rd seed in EU putting up a contest against the #1 in NA right now. It's looking like a very tough uphill battle from this point on. But SoaR, they know that. They've been down quite a bit actually in their games against Warpath Gaming. They actually went down the first game yesterday.
Exactly, but then came back strong. And if I was going to make an observation here, I would say, check out those progress air shots. Those are not the easiest to hit with the slower projectile speed. But if I was going to make an observation,
I thought that was your observation.
No. My observation is that basically it's not so much SoaR's map.
Right.
They tend to do better on the brawler maps, the smaller, tighter choke points, and less spread out space where they can really group up and fight as a team.
Exactly.
If they're all sort of separated and then sort of dissipated as a result, they tend to fall one by one, and that's exactly what we've had seen here. But how's this hold going on the payload push?
The hold's doing very well so far. Kusqt actually getting taken down by Perdo. Perdo saying, I got the better of you this time, Kus. Don't be trying to take me back to base anymore. Fernando gets taken down by Shipa, the pip on the side of D69. So although they are holding, they are losing some players now for the push, and now this payload is going to be able to progress a little bit more towards the base and continue the hopes that D69 might be able to get a full conversion here for an extra more 2 points.
And that would put them at 6-1, leading very, very advanced. You can check this out. We're going up on Gerrah. Gerrah's going up to the high ground. No mega turret ultimate available, but just by holding this for his team and pressing the enemies back, it's going to open up the path for that payload to be pushed through. But meanwhile, in the little caves around the back there, we're actually seeing a lot of fighting going on in that very tight choke point. Not much room to move. It's really Fernando's domain in there, which I want to say. Or maybe Pip's with that area damage.
Yeah, Pip's very good with the area damage. Fernando also because it's just close quarters. You got to get away from him. He wins the up-close brawl, but if you have a little bit of medium or long range, you're going to be able to get away from him. Popping the shield at the last moment. Pcack staying alive. Seems like he just has so many tools. That's why Fernando's so good with his payload push. He can aggress, throw up his shield, and then obviously still stay in the fight.
Now we've got to be careful here. Perdo does have that accursed arm ultimate available. Never step used twice just to push forward, so not going up into the air to drop those explosive shots yet. District 69 continuing the push. There's 15 seconds on the clock. If they want to convert this, it's going to have to go into overtime. But with MOETORIOUS on Pip up on the high ground now, it's going to be very, very difficult to do so.
Yeah, really nice reversal by Perdo to stay alive. Perdo showing class on this Androxus, even against a very solid team. Obviously, Torpedo wasn't able to stop it, but 2-4, again, a successful defense. The credit advantage going to SoaR. Obviously, they're going to be able to buy full burn cards, you would assume. And that was, again, another successful defense. We've just seen an instant replay on both of those fights.
Exactly, but it didn't quite have to be. You saw the payload push very, very far up then. What appeared to happen at that point was that District 69 just nowhere near the payload when it takes into overtime. Maybe they wanted to actually give it up and just go for this point hold, maybe retain some of their ultimate charge, and you can see there's 4 ultimates available on the side of District 69, so they will have an advantage going into this next objective. Point has spawned at mines. Let's check in and see how it goes.
Well, what I do also want to point out is that Shipa on the side of District 69 has a 11 streak right now as a pip. It's very unusual for the team to not win the round to have an 11 streak, so it's very, very impressive that Shipa's been able to keep his positioning relative to his team to still impact the game and be on that high streak.
Exactly. Now, look at this. There's so much damage coming out from SoaR. They're really starting to force back into District 69's domain, shall we say. Got to be careful as the Drogo's there up against the Kusqt in short range. You're going to get shots spread out the air. One more shot will do it, but Drogo's is able to run away. The Expectorate explosion around the corner keeps them running, but District 69 look to retake this point. They're starting to rack up charge and members and kills. They're starting to go left and right for both teams.
I like this a lot more coming out from the side of SoaR. Okay, they realize they're not going to win this fight. Bear Turret just doing work, and oh, that's a pip on the side. Nice disengage, however, by Kusqt, but it's not enough. A little too much, a little too late. A day late and a dollar short, as we say, and pretty much gets taken out by the damage from Pip. And D69 looking strong again on this point fight.
Now we're checking in with Kusqt. He's got to dash away. There's a lot of damage coming through. Reversal will keep him alive, but he's being chased down the tunnels by an enemy and drops this. That's a lot of damage he has to deal with. A Cursed Arm is available, but he's wiped out. There's no chance to get it off. And look at the points on the objective right now for District 69. They lead 78 in favor. Special Memory Pop. SoaR has a chance to retake right now, but the damage is just too much. MOETORIOUS, though, coming out on top in that engagement. Might see a way back in.
Very nice chicken. If mykl can get something here, no, he's dead. Unfortunately, ultimate's wasted, and D69 takes another point. You see the hopping there from Perdo on the mount, showing that he's happy about that result. D69's got to be happy with how they're playing right now, Vox.
Well, going into this, I know a lot of people had the, should we call them the ego kings of SoaR? They were so confident going into this matchup, but this is a little bit unexpected. I mean, D69 are going to be starting to feel themselves right now. They appear to be quite momentum-based. If they're winning, they win hard. If they're losing, then it's a lot more difficult for them to come back from. And picking up an early win like this and such an early advantage is going to really start to snowball that out of control. SoaR are going to have to start to look for some very tight-knit objective control.
Now, here's the thing. When you are SoaR, they've been in this situation before against WarPath Gaming. When you're SoaR and you know you can defend, if you get this point to 3-6, that means next capture point. If you get all points, you get the capture and the push, you would then be at 7-6. You could actually be ahead next round if you defend this successfully. So SoaR, no, they're not out of this fight just yet. But Drogos gets into the Dragon Ultimate. One punch, slaying Pcack. Fernando, that 5,000 health pool isn't going to matter very much if you get hit with one shot. And that's exactly what Drogos' ultimate does.
Oh, now look at this. Under fire is MOETORIOUS having to back right away. Is wiped out by Bugzy with the long distance shot. The payload now very close to completion. And check out the time on the clock. It's 1 minute and 10 seconds left to go. There's indeed an immortal ultimate popped by District 69, if I'm not mistaken. The kills are coming through from Shipa on that pip, raining down Hellfire from up top. There's the Accursed Arm as well. There's the Expectorate explosion. And they're going to push it through to completion. There's nobody left alive except this one Fernando Pcack to stop the payload push.
Yeah, well, Pcack is still alive, however, and now the team of SoaR is actually getting themselves back. WarDoom is there. Bugzy, they're going to have to basically travel a very far distance to contest this again, and now Kusqt is back. So it looks like this defense is not as, failed as we might have thought.
No, I thought it was actually going to go straight through there. You got to remember that big Expectorate, that big fire spit explosion coming from the ult fire of Drogos. If you're running the card, well, if you're running one specific specialty card, you will actually provide a very large knockback, and you can easily backdoor the payload and sort of push it in underneath players, knocked up high into the air. So you've got to be very careful of that. Decimate, by the way, being that specialty card. But alas, no beans for District 69.
No beans indeed. Yeah,
no beans.
It's with no beans to eat. And I don't know if they're hungry or not, but they definitely are hungry for this win. This push has only 8 seconds left, and we're gonna have to see if they're able to go ahead and finish it up. Obviously, SoaR has been fantastic at defending, but are they gonna be able to do it now? It looks like MOETORIOUS is going down, but here comes Kusqt and WarDoom with the barricade shield. It's overtime, ladies and gentlemen. What is going to go down? Shipa having to run away. This could be the end. They've got to take down that pip, though. That area damage is gonna be too much. Overtime still ticking away, and D69 gets the 2 points. A perfect conversion, 4 points in the round, and it's only 1 capture point away from victory for the Europeans.
Exactly, and this puts District 69 in a very, very advantageous position right now. They can win not only off an objective capture, but also a successful payload defense. Now, we've seen that SoaR, when they actually get a hold of that payload, when they get the capture and start pushing through, they're devastating. They're almost impossible to stop the push of, but all they have to do is defend successfully just that once, and it's all over.
Well, the thing is now, SoaR, they have their back against the wall. They need to win not only the capture point, they need to push successfully as well, because you get 1 point for a successful defense. If they even let a defense happen on the side of D69, they are going to lose this map, and I know they want to take a 1-0 lead, but it's not like they can't come back from it, so we'll see. Taking the high ground again is SoaR, looking to find some damage on the turret, get rid of that very quickly.
Exactly, Kusqt excelling at dealing damage from long range, but check out this flank coming through from the side of District 69. Has been spotted out by mykl now, and this Kusqt goes into chase down Shipa, finds a Drogos in return, and oh, going to be chased down by Elvenpath now as well. SoaR on the back foot, the flank paid off for them, but on the point, wiped out as well is WarDoom, thanks to that Accursed Arm shots, and now SoaR they're on full retreat. 51 points to the capture point, though. The retake potential is there. But tell me, Rain, how do they go about doing it? They got to wait for those respawns, right?
Well, the most important aspect of retaking a point is there's always this initial fight, and one team gets the better in, and they start accumulating points. But then you have to wait for your team. You have to go in as a unit, as a group, with energy, with aggressiveness, and try to retake it. It doesn't matter if the enemy team gets to 99. It takes 100 to seal the deal. So you can come back at the last second and still make a successful victory.
Exactly. Now Shipa in a lot of trouble, has to run away. I did hear Dragon Punch actually pop there, takes out MOETORIOUS on the backside. Shipa has that polymorph available, the evil Mocha. There's a Mega Turret on the point as well. And District 69, they just clean up. That's all the kills that they need. They take that capture point, the final one of this game, and will advance with a win into the next map on Temple Ruins.
Bugzy showing some emotion there. The man with the backwards hat playing that dragon in the game, one-shotting Pip with Drogos. I gotta say that to me, Drogos is the big difference in these fights. You know, SoaR didn't have to play against Drogos at all yesterday against NA. Not somebody that it seemed like WarPath was very interested in using. And Bugzy, he's kind of like a pro.
Exactly. Now, I did have a little bit of a prediction coming into this. We've seen that SoaR like these big, tanky team compositions. We see them like to pick up a lot of Fernando, a lot of Buck as well.
Right.
And Drogos is a fantastic combat to that, just with the one-punch ultimate. Now, Drogos weak to Androxus, so it all depends on how well you can protect that Drogos up in the air. And Perdo playing his own Androxus versus Kusqt seems to be doing that quite well. Next map up though, Temple Ruins.
And I'm excited to see what SoaR do, because last time we saw them lose game 1 against WarPath, and they made the adjustment for Buck. Today they start differently, and they go for Cassie originally, which is very strange. I don't think we've seen mykl play Cassie, but mykl's the kind of guy, I've talked to him a lot, and he says, I'll play whatever, dude. I'll just put me in the game. I'll play Grover if I need to, and I'll carry. And he really did say that, to be honest. So he plays Cassie, I know, right? He plays Cassie, and it's like, this guy does well, but the team doesn't seem to do as well with the pressure that Buck was providing them yesterday.
Right, they're caught out, and it's not just the pressure which Buck can provide, it's the distraction in the backline.
Yes.
Buck doesn't necessarily revolve around getting kills. Buck revolves around just going in and disrupting. Ultimately, it doesn't matter if you die. If you're able to distract the team and require, allies from the enemy team to come back and help you defend against this Buck, then you win the point fight. And if you can do that enough times, you will eventually win control. Got to remember that Buck being hypermobile as well. I think mykl runs that card leg day 4, which greatly increases the distance of your leap as well, is able to get up, especially on Temple Ruins, to the high ground on the defense if you're trying to push the payload through.
And translating that, the maps, Temple Ruins, it's a lot of open space. Okay, it's very different than Glacier Keep, which is very enclosed. What they're going to look to do is maybe make some character swaps where Buck can be a little bit more active, use that open space to aggress on multiple targets. We saw it once going on to Cassie. 2 seconds later, hops on with tightrope, allows him to move very fast, and then heroic leaps again, and he's on a different target. And so all the while, he's pressuring, but they're not shooting at his teammates, which made a lot of the difference yesterday in the fights.
Absolutely, absolutely. But we're going on to Temple Ruins, as you said. It's a map with a lot of open space, a lot of long lines of sight. Now, we didn't see this actually come out during the initial round yesterday with District 69 versus Torpedo, but Bugzy, arguably one of the best Kinessa players in the world right now.
Wow.
Could see that coming out again.
You think?
It's difficult, right? To me, that's...
I mean, Drogos is working.
Drogos is working. Kinessa, very devastating on this map. To me, Kinessa's kind of the pocket pick. We might see it come out, but if it gets pulled out once, it's not going to work again. The teams know how to counter it, and they'll be expecting something similar.
Right.
Hey, so we haven't seen much Eevee this tournament so far, even during the qualifiers.
No Winter Witch. However, we have seen her in the cosplay, though.
Absolutely.
That was looking good. I think that was Smidgen's girlfriend or
right. No,
something, fiance or whatever.
Absolutely fantastic cosplay that we saw yesterday. Everybody got a few photos up on stage.
You got some photos.
I got some photos.
You're an Eevee fan.
I'm an Eevee fan.
I won't tell Smidgen, though.
Hey, I like playing Eevee. I like, you know what I like doing? I like going into payload and running Frigid Field Eevee, because of course, Eevee's specialty card, Frigid Field, allows you to freeze enemies around you when you activate your ice block. On payload, you can't buy burn cards. There's no resilience, which reduces the duration of crowd control by 100%. So it's just free freezes left and right.
Free freezes, hit him with the freeze. Absolutely strong plays for Eevee, but she's really not a top tier pick. We don't see a lot of the characters in this kind of professional scene right now. Buck was a surprise for us yesterday, but we typically are not seeing Buck. We're not seeing Eevee, which is more of a magical area damage, very mobile kind of character. There's Grover, who, if you're familiar with Smite, actually the tree ant that Sylvanas rides, and he's very, very he hits hard, but he hits slow, and he's kind of a big target. So we don't see him a lot as well.
Exactly. Well, Grover is the king of 1 versus 1s. You'll find him in pubs a lot. You'll find him doing very, very well. But you got to remember that up on a main stage like this, you got teams of 5 versus 5. It's no longer a 1 versus 1.
Right.
And Grover going off on their own will quickly get turned on.
Yeah.
He's got a huge hurt box right there. And the teams just go, oh, it's a big target. Let's shoot it. It's like painting a bullseye on one of your teammates.
Well, to be honest, if a huge tree was slapping me with an axe, I would probably be yelling at all my teammates to help me get him
Oh,
off
yeah,
as well.
absolutely.
Anyone around me, hey, big tree, axe, help. That's pretty much what I would be going for. And I'm sure that's what obviously all these teams do to counter him very well. It just takes focus fire for those big health targets. But Fernando's still somebody we see very often because of his shield, because of his presence, and of course, the backline targets. What do you think about Pcack's Fernando in this game? Do you think he was effective enough onto the backline targets?
I think that he was, but I didn't see that he was going that much for the backline disruption. He was more going for the point contest and the point hold. And this is partially because District 69 just, okay, SoaR goes and gets high ground advantage. District 69 just hop on the point. They go, well, we're going to stay there, but hold that thought as we are getting into the next game on Temple Ruins.
And I'm excited to see if there are some adjustments, and yes, there are. We'll see a Barrack, Fernando, Pip, a Buck this time on the side of SoaR, and played by mykl, and of course, Kusqt on the Androxus. Whereas on the side of D69, it looks to be all the same. Fernando, Barrack, Pip, Androxus, and Drogos, like I thought.
Exactly. Now, I love what Gerrah's doing right here. Gerrah picking up the burn card Cauterize, which for 2 seconds after you hit an enemy with your weapon attack reduces all healing by 100%. Against a Buck, especially a Buck running Gather as well. That anti-heal is so, so important. You can see mykl starting to look, seeing if anybody's getting off the capture.
He's waiting.
But District 69 come around for the backside. They've all been spotted out. In goes mykl.
Nice jump, heroic leap onto the Drogos there. Buck jumping up again, already at 2,300 health. He's getting focused a little bit, but Drogos is getting more focused, and he's almost dead. Bugzy staying alive somehow, but mykl staying alive a little bit more. Fernando with that 4,157 health pool actually right now, just holding off, basically setting up a perimeter around to avoid anybody from D69 being able to get in, although Shipa gets the first blood on the mykl.
But look at this, SoaR's positioning was very aggressive there. They might have overcommitted slightly, but all the while, 58 points on the capture point leads SoaR right now. District 69 have a retake coming through, but as the respawn comes through from mykl, maybe about 60 points on the capture in favor of District 69, he'll reach that area. He might be able to turn the tide back in their favor.
And this is what I love to see. MOETORIOUS, he's there. He could have gone in. He didn't want to. He was waiting for his team. They are grouping up. They're going to make a smart targeted advantage. But let me tell you who needs to go. It's Bugzy, because pretty much Shipa and Bugzy, with the expectorates, with the area damage, are doing too much work on the backline characters of Mo, and even eliminating Buck from being an effective backline aggressor. And it's just too much. They're getting away with too low health. They need to go if SoaR wants a chance of winning this.
Exactly. It's all about that air controller, whilst Buck is very useful locking down squishy backline carries. The one thing which we've got to remember is that Drogos can go up into the air. He's got an ability called Thrust, which propels him up into the air. He can then hover with a little bit of a jetpack if you hold space during that time. And as a result, with Buck having such a short range on his weapon, he's not able to really knock them out of the skies. It all comes down to Androxus.
Now D69 take the first capture point. So EU again winning the first game, and now on their way, starting off pretty strong in the second one. Of course, we got $100,000 on the line for these two teams here. One from EU, one from NA. The first seed coming out from North America, and the third seed upsetting not only the #1 seed in EU, but right now upsetting the things in NA, shifting the world balance right now, man.
Well, we all know that EU is the strongest region, of course, going into this.
Excuse me?
We had the first seed Torpedo, of course, which everybody
how'd that
expected
work
to go
out?
right to the finals. Yeah, you're right, but District 69 holding strong, looking at aggression coming through. mykl going deep in, that concussion damage as well. Let's talk about one of the things which Buck has in his kit right now. So we see that heroic leap able to propel him across the map. Now, there's a specialty card that mykl has equipped called Concussion Rain. What does that card grant you?
Well, if you're able to grab Concussion, you're basically able to go ahead and jump and knock people up, right? It's going to be able to give you that extra damage when you land.
Exactly.
And so pretty much what you're going to be able to do is land and disrupt the fight, but you're able to not only use your heroic leap for mobility, it's for damage. And that extra damage for a Cassie, who has got 750 health, it's going to mean a big difference if you're able to add 600 just by leaping on her twice.
Absolutely, and you got to remember that the Buck shrapnel count deals a lot of damage at close range. So you'll see mykl use heroic leap, and the one important thing about Concussion as well is that it grants you an additional heroic leap. So we see that leap come out, land on a target, dish out some damage, jump up again and confirm the damage, not just chasing people down if they start to run away, but also just wiping them out completely with that Concussion. Now up in the air, a Curse Arm being used by Perdo, but it's not going to find anything. He gets 2 shots off. Would he fire a third? No, down, focusing fire on MOETORIOUS now, but a bit of a wasted ultimate there, wouldn't you agree?
I would agree that it was a wasted ultimate. The thing is that they just don't have, there was nobody to kill because they were pretty much all dead at that point. and not really around. They're just doing such a good job. The payload's almost in the base of SoaR, but right now they have to regroup. Shipa, Gerrah coming in from the backside, looking to go ahead and find some space to counter Kusqt, getting a little bit of outplayed really by Perdo on the Androxus from D69. So Cust's gonna have to have a little bit of a better game if they really want to start winning some of these objective points.
Well, we say outplayed just by one. I don't think it's just Perdo. I think the fact is that Kusqt as the Androxus, it's really his role to start focusing down the enemy Drogos up in the air. And as a result, he's distracted from having these 1v1 Androxus duels, which we saw a lot of yesterday. Now we're going into the capture point. That one punch is available, is being charged. He's looking for Pcack. He goes through, misses everybody, comes round, stuck in the archway there, not able to get any kills from it, but at least manages to pick up one on the backside there, but is quickly wiped out by Kusqt on Androxus.
MOETORIOUS going down, mykl, however, getting a couple kills, Kusqt taking down Bugzy finally. Again, the Dragon just staying alive so much, and you never know where he is, coming in with that one-punch Dragon. It's like Khaleesi, all of a sudden, you think you got her, you think you're gonna get her in the tent, and all of a sudden a Dragon comes down, burns you. It's like, where did that come from? I have no idea, and that's exactly what Bugzy is doing for this team, just coming out of nowhere and being so aggressive and helpful with his area shots. He's hitting those rocket launchers.
Exactly, and he's not just hitting the AoE damage, he's hitting those direct hits in midair after everybody's knocked up from an expectorate explosion, which is, whilst it's easier to do on very low latency, like at a LAN event like this, we've seen him do that in the tournament a lot as well. There's a lot of skill that goes into this Drogo's play. The one thing that I don't like that he did right at the end there was use Dragon Punch. He didn't get anything out of it, and as a result, it's now down for this next capture point where it would have been very, very useful, since Immortal had been used by the enemy Fernando Pcack, to just wipe him out before the fight even begins.
Well, see, the thing is, Drogos is a very good counter to Fernando, right? Because Fernando, this huge health pool, how do you get it down? It's going to take time, it's going to take shots, it's going to take focus, but if you have an ultimate on a character that can literally take the maximum amount of health the character has and eliminate it, if they land their ult, well, then it's going to not matter how much health you have.
Now, the next capture point will be spawning shortly. We're going to a very brief break as the players are having a little bit of a conversation going there. But you got to remember as well, this is point number 2. Okay, so the players will have stacked up some credits from the kills previously, and they'll be able to pick up more cauterizers on the side of District 69. This is going to put Buck at a bit of a disadvantage. Buck really excels in the early game, right, when nobody has that anti-heal counter where he can just jump on people, heal up all day, and he's very, very happy with what he's doing. Now he's going to be under a lot more pressure, having to jump and disrupt and then jump out of the fight again rather than staying there through to completion. So tell me, how do you think that's going to work out for mykl?
Well, for mykl, I think the key for him is he was such a good distractor, because what Warpath was doing yesterday against SoaR was that they were basically going Androxus against Androxus, letting the basically two of them shoot it out like an old Western. You guys stand there, doo-doo-doo, and just basically whoever shoots the person first wins. And that was great. Kus was unbelievable in that scenario. But now, because he's got the air pressure from Drogos as well, what that means is Androxus is not only having to deal with the enemy Androxus, which is Perdo, who's playing lights out, he's also got to play with Drogos, who, if he hits one of those shots, that's near 400, 450 damage on top of him, and he's got a very low health pool as a squishier character.
Exactly. Now, right on camera, we do see the trophy for the Paladins Founders Tournament going on right there. Lovely, and crystals. Crystals are a big part of this game. And of course, Paladins, it's a game in closed beta right now. We have this $100,000 prize pool tournament for a game in closed beta. We do have beta keys available on the table at the back of the hall if you'd like to jump in a game and play. There is a Founders Pack available as well, which gives you 20 Radiant chests. It gives you a couple of beta keys to share with your friends.
Nice.
Which is always very useful. Helps you unlock some more of those cards, but the next capture point has spawned. We're back in the game. Burn cards coming out across the board, 3 for everybody on each team, and it's spawned on Sanctuary in the middle.
And it's the salty run back. Both teams electing to stay the same. Flanks on flanks on flanks here. All of them trying to figure out a way to get the upper hand advantage, create those 2v1s, and get an early kill. It looks like Pcack forced after the Drogo salvo, just throwing every single rocket launcher in his arsenal at the Fernando, coming to an end, but taking off so much health. And of course, the damage going down. Perdo, Gerrah getting a double kill there on the mykl, and MOETORIOUS. Pcack answers on a Shipa, but Gerrah gets the kill on the Kusqt. It's looking again like a very strong play here coming out from D69.
Exactly, and I think the Mega Turret was then popped on the capture point right then. I'm not sure if we have the ultimate charge available for Gerrah, but I highly think that it's that heat-seeking missile turret launcher which helped him control that space. Now, you got to remember that that will be available, or similar ultimates will be available for all of SoaR coming back in for the retake. I don't think they actually used any ultimates going for that. So if they manage to get a little bit of area control, contest the point for a couple of seconds, we could see the retake coming through. But look at the aggressive defense coming out from District 69 right now. They're not letting anybody get on that capture point besides the Fernando, who's then forced into the Immortal ultimate just to keep himself alive.
Yeah, you've got to try and burn the shields, but Bugzy and Perdo say, no way, Jose. I'm going to go ahead and take your life and take this capture capture point. 4-1, District 69, and this is looking like, again, something we've seen before. D69 having so much success on these capture point fights. Something's got to give for SoaR.
Right, and I think part of that is actually going to have to be the team comp going into the next one. This Drogo's pick. You can
too much.
deal it with Kusqt, but in all honesty, I'm starting to think that maybe a Drogo's of SoaR's own would be either a good counter to it, or potentially even a Skye. You got to remember that Skye is quite effective in the mid-range currently. She does have a hit scan weapon with her poison, both her poison bolts and her regular weapon, allowing her to easily take out airborne enemies as long as they're not too far away. So potentially going to that. But after Torpedo's very poor showing on Skye yesterday, I'm not sure if that anybody's going to be willing to pull that out again. I think District 69, they know how to thoroughly counter it.
Yeah, I would not reckon on getting Skye. That was how D69 lost in the qualifiers and only got 3rd seed. But that is how they definitely beat Torpedo yesterday. So that would not be a smart thing to counter on. But WarDoom getting the shots on the Bugzy in midair, saying, "Get down, Dragon. I don't want to see you for a few minutes." And so she's going to head back to base. Going to have to catch up with the boys of D69 a little bit later. However, Shipa still throwing that area damage, landing his shots, burning down that shield. Of course, he's got Nimble, he's got Cauterize, and he's got Blast Shields, allowing him to reduce his damage that he's taking from big shots, move a little bit faster, and of course, reduce the healing from anybody that he's hitting with those big area potions.
But arguably, most importantly right now, there is no Wrecker on this pip. So Wrecker card, which a burn card available to purchase for 200 credits, increases the damage you do to shields by 200%. And now you've got a double shield composition coming out from SoaR, just as you do on the side of District 69, which means without all those Wrecker pickups, it's going to be very difficult to start to push through some of these barricades. And that's what we've seen so far, right, as Dragon Punch goes on the backside. We're not seeing the payload conversions, we're just seeing the point control.
It's really interesting because Drogoz is being so effective here, but when he first released, a lot of people were like, you know, Drogoz, he's all right, but his ult, meh, right? And they were using it, instead of a mount, they were using it to get to the point faster. That was how we were seeing Drogoz's ult used. And now it's becoming this thing that people are really getting better at aiming. The sensitivity is being adjusted in-game and also by players just becoming more used to it. And we're seeing it pay off so well. But from the beginning, whether he was using his ultimate or not, we've seen expectorates or fire spit be the big key for Drogoz in most team fights.
Absolutely. It's that Decimate 4 card which these Drogoz players will be picking up. You can counter it if you pick up the burn card Resilience, but that means you can't take blast shields. You'll be taking so much more damage. And it just is able to, we might see it go off in a little while here, knocking away some enemies from around the capture point. Definitely seen it a few times earlier to a great degree of success. And it can often make for some great backdoor pushes.
Oh, great weightless there by Shipa, getting off the point, away from the damage coming out from WarDoom, and then jumping back on. MOETORIOUS getting the kill onto Gerrah. However, mykl getting slayed. Defiance Revolver coming around, taking down mykl and MOETORIOUS there, and it looks like the defense has failed. 2 more points on the side of D69. Now, Vox, this is looking like a hard play for SoaR to come back from. I mean, I don't think, like we were mentioning, that the picks are correct in dealing with this D69 comp. What do you think is going to happen at this point? Just in the progression of this game, do you think they're just going to say, okay, we lost this game, right? We got to change things up, or are they going to basically go on and make some kind of key adjustment?
Now, I don't think the SoaR are a team which are going to ever look to concede something.
Right.
But they're definitely going to try to learn what they can from this matchup. They're going to try and figure this Drogoz out. They really have to, right? They don't have an opportunity to fail again if this game does go in District 69's favor. So they have to look for some way to figure it out, see how they can deal with it, or maybe pull out one of their own. Now, we did actually see one very interesting bird card back on the, as the point breaks out around Sunken City, back on Kusqt. He's picked up Deft Hand, which increases your reload speed by 50%. Hopefully going to be able to get more of those shots off. Maybe have a bit of an easier time dealing with those 2 airborne champions on the side of District 69.
Now keep an eye exactly on one of those airborne champions, the one we're spectating now, Drogoz. You can see Bugzy there hitting his shots. Perdo getting the kill, however, on the Kusqt, but the Dragon Punch coming out, trying to find somebody through the fountain. Oh, and he misses. No good. No dice. Very close. And it looks like SoaR get their first objective of the game. SoaR making that comeback.
Now, they were already on the board, of course, with a couple of payload defenses, but now they have 3 points to 6. If they get this successful payload conversion, it'll go up to 5 to 6. That really starts to keep them back in the runnings. And then it is District 69, whilst with the point advantage, that are on the back foot. They now know that they can be beat, and they're going to be a little bit shaken by that, perhaps. And SoaR, I mean, they're a very emotional team. They ride on success, and they really want to carry that hype through. And this is a good pickup for them.
Yeah, mykl and MOETORIOUS, extremely emotional players. They're on the pip, on the buck. They love basically going ahead as mykl gets slain here. Curse of the commentator, just being in the energy of winning. And that just turn of events right there, where they got the capture point, and now we're seeing a glimmer of light at the end of the dark tunnel. This could change everything.
A little bit of hope at District 69. They look to mount a good defense. Ooh, with the air shot is Perdo takes that Kusqt. Now has that accursed arm ultimate available. Probably doesn't want to use it just yet until the payload gets closer to the base.
Right.
But it is there for the clutch defense if necessary.
Yeah, definitely don't want to waste that one. It's a ton of damage, 750 damage. Most shots hit about 350 to 400, 500 if you're EV at a very large amount, but it's area damage. But his 750, he gets 4 shots. That's 3,000 damage potentially onto a single target or multiple targets.
That's enough to full out KO a Ruckus. We saw the Androxus battle going on the backside. Perdo in reversal does manage to get a shot off. 1, 2. It's the third one, but he's forced out as mykl on the backside on Buck is going to look to put the pressure on as well. No nether step available, no reversal available. There we go. Nether step off cooldown. Goes through the portal, is able to get back to the healing fountain. We did see a cursed arm pop by Kusqt in the background as well, and the payload push seems to be stalled out despite all that.
Does Perdo miss? I'm trying to figure this out. He's hitting these long-range shots. This hit scan land event is so amazing for the Androxus players. They're playing out of their mind. I'm trying to figure out if this guy misses, and he doesn't, especially on a Kusqt, his partner in crime on the other side, and looks like he's saying, nah, man, there's one doppelganger that's basically going to have to come out on this, and it's going to be me. I don't know if you ever read that Hans Christian Andersen book where he pretends to be the...
Enlighten me. Enlighten me.
I can't go into there, man. If you know it, pretty much he creates a shadow of himself, and then the shadow says, hey, I'm actually going to be you, and kills the actual original person. He's a crazy guy. But what happened is, it's an amazing event to see these two players on Androxus both going at it. We saw this with Kusqt, and we saw this with, on the other side of Warpath Gaming. So we're seeing this battle again, and Kusqt not getting the better end of it.
Perdo just able to focus him down. mykl jumping in deep in the backside. Reversal now pop. Perdo doesn't have another step available. Likely to fall here. Is finally wiped out by mykl, taking off the Stray there. Off the bit of a tear there, but Gerrah and Elvenpath picking up kills of their own. Stall the payload out at this base choke point right here. Whilst Pcack is able to contest it, if the rest of his team aren't there and available, he's just a sitting duck. He's a target for the rest of District 69, and as overtime ticks to a close, the successful defense from District 69 goes through, and this puts them actually at match point here.
Yeah, so this is dangerous territory. This is lurking in some very dangerous waters because you've got Dragon Punch available, which means Bugzy's not only going to be available with the area damage, he's going to be looking at the Fernando in the next match. He's going to be trying to figure out where that big health target is so we could burn him down in the most efficient way possible, which is with my ultimate, which one-hit KO somebody. And after that, he's going to basically try and get away, which he's done so successfully. They've not been able to take down Bugzy in this fight. He has been playing out of his mind. I really want to see how he basically goes into this point and what he does.
Now, if I was playing this in a pub, I'd probably charge up my ultimate right here and just go straight for the kill, but Bugzy has the presence of mind to look to try and get some damage off before doing so, pressured out by the boys of SoaR. Pushing in very deep up on high is Kusqt dropping the damage right now, but Bugzy surprisingly low, high health actually. The expectorate explosion doesn't hit anybody. Here it is, Dragon Punch goes through. Who's it going to connect on? It's going to connect on somebody. No!
Oh, MOETORIOUS, full health gets taken down. No pip in the rest of this fight. That's a big deal. And look, Bugzy still alive, 357 health. mykl says, see you later, Bugzy. You're not getting away this time. You took down my buddy MOETORIOUS. I'm going to take you down instead. And now this fight, though it was tilting towards SoaR, is still in the favor potentially if they can get this Elvenpath Fernando down quick enough.
Now you got to remember that Evil Mojo is available for Shipa right here on this pip. If he manages to take out the shield, it drops it down onto several members of SoaR G2A. That's going to put them all in a polymorph state. They're unable to move, but hold that thought as a cursed arm comes down from on high. Looks at this pip, doesn't hit all the shots though. Almost no health left. Shipa somehow survives. He keeps the streak up on the backside.
It's so important. You cannot talk about the importance of having a man advantage, of not getting the kill, letting somebody get away, because not only is it that you don't get that kill, you don't aggress. You're not able to then go ahead and take advantage of that pressure because you know they're waiting behind the corner. They could come back with full health and you're still in the fight. It actually is almost a disadvantage to kill someone very low, put yourself at a disadvantage and get hit, and then not kill them, because then obviously they have the health advantage coming back in and you're still fighting. You can't recover.
Exactly. Out of combat regen is a thing in this game. If you do want to heal up out of combat, you can go ahead and do so. But even just doing that, we talk about how not actually getting the kill and taking the players out of the fight is bad. But in the same way, if necessary, just forcing them out can sometimes be enough. But look at this, District 69 about to go for the next objective capture. Oh, there's the salvo shot raining down from above, and District 69, they take game 2.
D69 getting cheers from the crowd. Warpath Gaming excited to see the EU compatriots actually in this fight, taking the advantage 2-0. This could be a sweep. D69 hasn't lost a game in this tournament. What is going on?
Well, I don't know what's going on with District 69. Something's going on very, very well. Elvenpath very happy to be on camera right there, and SoaR, they've got to figure out what District 69 are doing right now. They need to come up with a solution.
They really do.
And as we move on to the next map, it is Enchanted Forest. It's another one we saw Buck excel at for SoaR yesterday, but
yeah.
I mean, the Buck pick today, it just didn't have the same degree of impact, and so maybe we're going into champions, maybe we're just going into a playstyle difference. Now, what I'm watching when SoaR go onto a capture point is they split up into two groups. Somebody charges the folks on the point, somebody goes around the backside, looks at the flank, or mykl just dives straight in.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work out quite so well. We do have the post-game scoreboard from the last game up there. Let's take a look at the credits across the board. Ooh, lots and lots of kills on the side of District 69. That's what I'm seeing right here.
Yeah, Bugzy, no shielding. What is that? No, I'm kidding. Drogoz doesn't shield. Vox is looking at me like, what? What are you talking about? But we do see some incredible shielding coming out from Gerrah as well. And of course, WarDoom still the king of shielding, playing very well in the barrack. 6 kills, 10 deaths, however. But the big number to me that stands out is 20 deaths on the side of mykl. 8 kills, only 20, and 20 deaths. I mean, that's a big negative for the team. Buck not working out the same way it was yesterday. It seems like D69 were ready.
They know how to counter it now. They have had the opportunity to scrim some teams whilst they're here. We went to that Game Effect LAN cafe just around the corner from where we were all staying.
That was fun.
They had an opportunity to actually play against some of the EU teams and the NA teams, vice versa, on low ping effectively. Not quite a LAN environment, but instead of being transatlantic, it's a big improvement. Maybe they picked up a little bit of a counter going in there. Maybe they got some inside info, but who knows?
I mean, to me, I talked to Elvenpath this morning on D69. He said, dude, Buck just sucks.
Yeah.
Buck just isn't good. People are thinking that he's good, but he's not good. And I was surprised. I said, well, what do you mean? I mean, clearly he was effective. And they said, yeah, listen, I used to play Buck. I 1v1'd mykl, okay? I beat him, all right? I beat him in a 1v1 of Buck. I know Buck better than mykl knows Buck, and Buck's not good. And clearly they're showing Buck's weaknesses here. I think every character, as you probably will know, has some type of advantage, some type of counter. Buck is just kind of being exposed right now because Elvenpath and squad really know how to deal with him.
Exactly. Now, going into this next game on Enchanted Forest, lots of long lines of sight. I don't know, SoaR, they have to pull something out of the bag, and we know that these air control champions, they're kind of weak to hit scan. One champion that we haven't seen at all so far in the finals is Ruckus, who can take out Drogoz to play semi-successfully. Also, Knessa, great at landing those snipes from a long distance on mid-air champions, and on Enchanted Forest, where we do have some perfect lines of sight, where we see enemies pop up from behind trees or behind buildings, able to pick them off one by one. I wonder if there's anybody on SoaR. Do you know if there's a Knessa player on SoaR, perhaps?
Well, whether they have a Knessa player, I feel like most SoaR members say they'll play whatever they need to play because they're not afraid of changing their composition. I will expect to see definitely at least 1, maybe 2 character swaps here. Expect to see something different from SoaR. They will not sit back and say, this is a lost cause. Let me just salty run back you. We need to play better. They will change the comp to win this. They want this prize. They've been looking for this for 6 months, and they are this close to being upset by the number 3 seed in EU. Expect something big from them this round.
Now, we talked a lot about Buck so far. Let's go on and talk a little bit about Androxus, right? So we saw Kusqt pull out the Androxus like Perdo yesterday. Very, very devastating on that Androxus. People calling Kus maybe the best Androxus in the world yesterday. But coming in today, he's just completely outmatched by Perdo. There's so much else that he has to focus on as well. We're taking out a Drogoz. Do you think this Androxus pick is actually really working out? We've seen it not subbed out in any other respect, but maybe a different champion?
Well, I think they have to trust. This is where trust has to happen, because yesterday, Kus didn't want mykl to play Buck, but he said, Kus, I can play Buck. And mykl did it, and he did it to great effect. Kus right now playing Androxus, but maybe it's because the team thinks, hey, you're doing well with Androxus. If Kus feels, guys, I can stay with Androxus, I'll do better next game, they've got to trust him. But if he says, guys, you want me to play Andro, and I need to play somebody else, I'm not feeling this, I need to play someone I'm more comfortable with, they got to trust that as well. So really, this is where teammates, companionship, that really comes into play.
It's not the pick for me, actually, talking about Kusqt again, that's bothering me. It's the lack of support he has. He's the only one having to deal with 2 airborne champions.
Yeah.
That's why really, I do want to see something like maybe a Ruckus, maybe a Knessa that just helps take that Drogoz out of the air. But then, arguably, we've had Drogoz 2 games in a row, so they probably have a counter to that in their kit somewhere. They have to. I mean, you have to have a counter to everything if you're a top-tier team like these 2. So is it up to District 69 to change things up on their end? Maybe go for something else. We talked about if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But,
it ain't broke. and don't fix it. Exactly. You do not want to change what's happening here. And I think you know better than I. What's working is a sign that you are basically not only in the enemy's head, that you are doing something right. And now, if you go ahead and change that, I mean, you give them an advantage that they don't need to have. Let them adjust to your game plan. You're 2 games up. If you lose a game, you can adjust to them. If you lose 2 games, you could still adjust to them. But don't adjust too early, and I think D69 knows that. I expect the same comp coming out from them.
Very true, although I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, going into this game if we saw Elvenpath on maybe something like Sky or Ying. He's a little bit famous for liking to pick those champions up. We see the players on screen right now, 2 wins to 0 lead. District 69, their 2nd seed from the European region, coming up against the 1st seed of North America. Getting into game now on Enchanted Forest. Let's go through the picks.
And you were right, you called it. Bugzy on the Sky, picking that up the first time we've seen Bugzy on that in this game. And you see also on the side of District 69, you're going to have Sky, WarDoom, actually Gerrah, I'm sorry, on the Barrack, you're going to have Androxus, Fernando, and Pip. And on the side of SoaR, you're going to have MOETORIOUS. They're sticking the same. This is amazing. They are saying, we trust ourselves. We need to play the lineup that won us 2 games yesterday on Enchanted Forest. We need to bring that here.
Now, I would be, if they were running the Drogas again, I'd say, okay, this is probably doomed to fail, but check this out. Bugzy running the Sky pick here. That's a little bit dangerous. Sky, not a high health pool. If she has to go in and face up against, look at this, right into the face of all of the enemies that could be potentially run down, but able to mount up and get away. But I'd be a little bit worried about how effective Sky is going to be against these 2 tacky champions. But with that in mind, Pcack about to fall here for first blood, going to Elvenpath.
Unbelievable. I think Bugzy was in a bad spot there. They did give up 43 points on the capture objective, but now they allowed Sky to stay alive. What they really needed there was to kill Sky when she had both of her abilities to go invisible down. That's what they didn't do. They let her stay alive with very low health and no ways to escape, and they decided to get 43 points on the capture point. Who cares if you cannot capture it to 100? That's the whole problem with what SoaR's been doing. They've been getting the little fights, they've been winning the battles, but not the war.
That being said, though, mykl goes in, wipes out Bugzy. Perdo picks up mykl in response, but the respawns have come through from the side of SoaR. They already have a slight capture point advantage from earlier. And whilst WarDoom likely to fall here to the shots from Perdo that just don't miss. I mean, there is retake potential for SoaR here. It all comes down to maybe the ultimate combos. The Accursed Arm is ready and available there as long as we don't see Perdo fall, but as soon as I say it, cast his curse, MOETORIOUS wipes him out.
MOETORIOUS taking him down, getting a little bit of revenge here. Bugzy on the left-hand side, but MOETORIOUS actually getting taken down by Bugzy as well. Double kill onto the Sky. Going on to the mykl there on the Buck, looking to try and get a couple more shots. mykl's almost dead, gonna mount up, but through the grass, takes him down. Bugzy on a quadra kill right now. Bugzy going off. This Sky is paying dividends, baby.
That toxic time bomb pop right at the end. I mean, WarDoom jumps onto the point. He got a lot of damage as Sky, but he's very low on health. Just throws the ultimate down, which exists after death in the hope of getting a kill. Doesn't even matter. Still manages to stay alive. Still gets the kill. Under a lot of pressure now. Will have to retreat, but the payload push has been opened completely up. It's gonna start pushing towards the enemy base right now, and it's up to SoaR G2A to mount a fantastic defense and not fall sucker to this Sky again and again.
Yeah, they really need to be aware of the Sky. It's just like yesterday, they need to be aware of the Buck. SoaR needs to be aware of D69 Sky. Bugzy has been, to me, the most important character in this game. We've been seeing a lot of him on camera, but the thing is, he's just being so effective getting these kills, and he's also been staying alive. He's getting to the red on almost every engagement. I wouldn't be surprised if he kills MOETORIOUS here, and he's still alive. That is the problem. They cannot finish him off, and they're putting themselves in bad situations to do that, and then getting killed themselves. This is not working out for SoaR.
Look at this. He's so slippery, and now he's in the enemy base, right up on the backside, looking to be not just getting the kills, but also to get the distraction. Has to pop that smoke screen down, has a particular card in his kit which allows him to go into hidden whilst in smoke screen, but actually throws it there, has to drop right down and reset once again. Now very low, will be wiped out by Kusqt. I think that was the Accursed Arm shot, so he saw coming through there, but quickly answered back. No, WarDoom picking off Perdo there. Kusqt picking up another kill onto Elvenpath, and as the payload push has 1 minute and coming up to 5 seconds left on the clock. I mean, D69, they made a good push so far, but they're not making any headway since.
Well, this is really important, right? This is a moment that will define this series. Can SoaR go ahead and defend this push? If they can, it makes them 2-1. They get an extra credit bonus, and it puts them in a position to say, we're still in this game. We can win against this Sky. If not, however, this means a 4-0 start again for District 69. And to me, that spells bad business. No confidence for SoaR at this point, despite how much they believe in themselves. This has really got to hurt your mentality.
So going into this next capture point, as it's going to spawn in about 40 seconds from now, as long as overtime isn't a main factor. Although Perdo on the backside of that takes up mykl. Got the toxic time bomb going off from the Sky. A avoided, I think, by Pcack, able to dodge around the payload for that. Immortal has been popped inside of District 69. They're looking to make this push, but the respawn proximity from SoaR is a little bit too close. Unless there's a full wipe coming out of District 69 right now. It might just happen, though, as the Mega Turret has been popped by Gerrah right there. He's looking to dish damage onto mykl, but mykl able to dodge, dip, dive, and duck, stays alive just long enough for the respawns to start coming through, but there is the accursed arm as well.
Oh my god, and this payload is so close. Almost converted, is sticking into overtime now, but Perdo is still alive, and that means bad business. Immortal coming out, however, for the Fernando, keeping his teammates alive, keeping himself alive, and MOETORIOUS is here. They've got to kill Perdo, but Perdo says, no way, I'll kill you instead. mykl with the imprisonment, locking him and his teammates in. They're holding as best as they can. SoaR trying to do their best, but is their best good enough? The team filing back in. Kusqt is back. WarDoom is back. Can they get this hold?
And the barricade is up there. It's going to keep him safe for a long time, but Shipa actually closes that one out with a triple kill there on the backside. No evil mojo required. Just drops all of the damage onto the enemy team, and one by one, they fall to that potion launcher. That's a 4-0 lead in Game 3. This is looking to actually turn out to the sweep. I mean, this Sky is so devastating on the point control, but going into that, just the ultimate combinations that came out of District 69, perfectly timed. We saw Toxic Time Bomb into that Mega Turret as well, forcing all enemies away from the conversion point. So effective.
4 cauterizes. 4 cauterizes out of 5 potential cauterizes on the side of D69. And what that card will do, a card you can pick up in the middle of the game to counter your opponents in this game, Paladins, what it does is allows your opponents to not have any healing for 2 seconds. That means you're basically going to make Buck have only one ability, right? One ability in his ultimate. His other ability is to heal, and he cannot do that with 4 of the members shooting at him. And so he's basically been nullified here. mykl, I probably would have switched the Buck. They're countering him so well.
I'm going to agree with you now. Buck's in a lot of trouble as Sky does see there again, drops the Toxic Time Bomb, knows he's going to die, drops the ultimate, which deals damage over time to all enemies hit from it. It is line of sight based, but nobody looked to juke around this side, and as a result, District 69 once again taking this. Pcack goes onto the point for a second, but he's isolated and alone. He's just trying to buy time from his team, but that means he'll be that much further behind on the respawns. Maybe better to reset, drag people off the capture point, maybe into a bit of an ambush when your rest of the team does respawn. But Perdo, accursed arm available, looking to stop anybody from SoaR in their tracks.
Perdo playing out of his mind. Oh my god, Kusqt just trying to get to the point. He's like, I'm just trying to get to the point, man. You don't gotta kill me already. mykl here gonna actually get some revenge for his buddy, saying he can't slay him without getting slain yourself. MOETORIOUS such low health, just jumping onto the point to help mykl out. Both of them going ham, trying to do their thing, but both of them get taken down. MOETORIOUS death and WarDoom as well. The Mega Turret comes out from Barrack onto the shield for Fernando, and he's gonna go down very, very soon. Pcack gets slain, and that's 6-0 on the side of D69. We may be looking at a sweep real soon here.
I'm speechless. Honestly, I'm speechless. We had so much confidence coming out of the boys of SoaR, especially. We're sitting with them on the bus today, talking about it, and they asked us about predictions, and I said to them, I thought, well, this is going to be a sweep, but in all honesty, I don't know which way it's going, and it looks like it's going in favor of EU right now, as Sky on the backside, Bugzy looking to be a distraction, looking just to harass the team, make sure they're distracted, and can't stop the payload push, and that's exactly what is going on right now.
Well, talking about what is going wrong, not what's going on for me, I think that SoaR pretty much are taking these, they're defending well. I mean, they're getting some defenses here. They almost got that last defense. It was in overtime for several minutes. Like, it felt like an hour it was in overtime. But pretty much what I think is so wrong about what's happening is they're taking bad fights. They're prioritizing getting points rather than winning the fight. And you see, every time they lose a capture point, they've got 43. But that's because one person stood on the point, and they basically 4v5'd around the map and then all killed that one person. So I'd love to see SoaR change it, but unfortunately, they're running out of time to make any adjustments.
Oh, check that out. We're going to see MOETORIOUS pull up Bugzy there and an afterlife kill. Bugzy actually picking up the double kill with a Toxic Time Bomb there, straight after being wiped out by the shot from MOETORIOUS. And I love what he did. He's going to get polymorphed to come around behind a Pip who has that ultimate available. You're going to be transformed fairly soon, so he drops the ultimate of his own in response, able to pick up the afterlife kills. Fantastic play coming out of the Sky player of District 69.
Yeah, Droxus up in the air, trying to get a little bit of aerial damage. Shipa staying alive from the back line, doing what a Pip does, going for the area shots. Okay, trying to style on him. It looks like Pip's still going to do some damage. WarDoom, safety, getting away to the port. Actually, no, gets taken down by Bugzy. Man, Bugzy just being so aggressive on the Sky, and it's really paying off for them here. D69 still looking unstoppable.
And now what's curious to me is I keep on seeing, we just saw Perdo fall there, this time to Pcack. I keep on seeing mykl actually look to start aggressing onto the Androxus rather than maybe looking to chase the Sky down or go straight for a low health pool champion like Pip, which you gotta remember Buck has a net shot available to him as his ult fire, which roots and whilst it doesn't cripple, it does root out of movement abilities enemies, so if Pip goes into weightless, he can shut him down. Maybe a bit of target prioritization errors there as Bugzy picks up another kill onto Kusqt.
Yeah, oh man, this is just a good defense, however, still from SoaR. All the boys basically not allowing them, and if I'm D69, I'm saying, okay, all right, you got us here. We're not gonna be able to do it. We wanna win, we wanna get this extra point, but you know what? We don't know if we're gonna have the tools needed, and that's exactly what they do. The boys kind of back off, say, okay, you get this 1 point. We're not worried. We're 6-1 up. We're 2 games up. We could win in this next basically capture point run around here. So we are very, very confident to let you just have that 1 point.
As long as they take one more capture point, they can just go for defenses up to that point. They don't have to go for the objective. They can just sort of sit back and go, okay, well, you know, if we don't win the fight, it's not over yet.
Right.
And also at the end of that, very important to note, let's check out the ultimate charges. We've got Toxic Time Bomb available for Bugzy on Sky, Mega Turret for Gerrah as well as, check that out, Polymorph available for Shipa. And if that combination goes off together, you're going to see Pip transform their enemies. You're going to see that Mega Turret start to dish out of, off a lot of devastation there, that they all get trapped and polymorph during Toxic Time Bomb. That's a wipe right there.
Absolutely.
No questions asked.
Absolutely, and this is what I like to see. It looks like actually, however, that Pcack and the squad of SoaR are chasing the fight. They're trying to get a kill. Kusqt actually does take down Gerrah though, forces the ultimate from Shipa. Perdo trying to get some damage off. Shipa getting the kill on MOETORIOUS, but mykl taking down Bugzy. Bugzy taking down WarDoom, but Kusqt taking down Perdo. So a lot of kills in exchange, nobody really having points yet, and that's what I want to see from the boys of SoaR. They are doing exactly what I'm talking about, taking these fight to D69, not prioritizing the point, getting the point after they've won the initial fight.
All right, now Gerrah, if he's going to go for the win here, he needs to make good use of that Mega Turret. The points are starting to rack up from SoaR, but actually, if he drops it, even at this distance, he'll start to dish out a lot of damage. The rest of his team looking to go around, force the flanks. WarDoom is going to dismount him. He's got to place the barricade, got to place the turret. As soon as that barricade goes down, there we go, Mega Turret pops out. Mega Turret actually popped by WarDoom, immediately eliminated as Gerrah picks up the kill there, and District 69 go for the full-on retake.
It's like, for me, why are you two standing on that point against 5 members of the enemy team? It's like, you just draw back. It's fine. Let them get a couple points and aggress as a 5-man squad and burn them off, and then you can win that fight. It's just something that I think takes a little bit more. They're not expecting this. Of course, the boys of SoaR are just so off guard by how well this has been going.
Oh, Bugzy, sneaky there, really dishing out some damage to Kusqt. But I absolutely agree with you, and I'm starting to get a bit of deja vu. You know, on Glacier Keep, we made the remark that, you know what, despite the objective being what you need to take to win the game, standing on the objective usually gets you killed if you haven't cleared out the area surrounding it first.
Exactly.
And that's what District 69 are excelling at doing. They're wiping out all their enemies, and with that, they lead 8 points to 1 as the next capture is completed. One final payload push or one successful defense from the boys of District 69 will win them the entire tournament. It's an impossible uphill battle for SoaR, but they're not out yet. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, it looks like if you're a fan of NBA, you know that LeBron James and the Cavaliers pulled off the unthinkable the first time to come back from 3-1, a deficit in the NBA Finals ever last night or yesterday, pretty much. And now SoaR have a big task ahead of them. It's possible, but it would take a lot of perfect play and a lot of adjustments from them, and I'm not sure if we're going to see it yet. But right now, they're just looking to try and hold.
Well, hey, we've seen the impossible retakes come through before on the final week of qualifiers. Torpedo, 2 games down, 7 points down, managed to go for the retake, the reverse sweep against the boys of District 69, owning them the first seed slot. So let's see if SoaR will be able to do so again. In order to do so, though, they're going to have to try and shut down this Skies. Look at that. Up in the backline is Bugzy, just going for harassment. Going to have smoke screen available, goes into stealth, is invisible, and able to get out of dodge so easily. And you're right, nobody's shutting them down. Nobody's picking up the kills. And mykl there as well, going to be wiped out by the final shot.
Yeah, well, I don't mind mykl doing that, because mykl is going towards the front line. He's playing up. It's a distraction. It's burning time, right? He's going to be able to respawn. He'll be up in just a second, be able to defend if anything gets crazy. Of course, you've still got WarDoom up on the point, but what I'm worried about is Bugzy. If they can let Bugzy run right, now they know. They've seen it. MOETORIOUS is get back to base, Bugzy. Take this. We've seen that play before. We've read that book. We've seen that movie. We know what is coming from you, and now Bugzy's probably going to have to do something different if he wants to be effective.
Exactly. Pcack able to chase out the barrack. Gerrah on the side of District 69 right now, and mykl goes aggressive onto Pip this time. Exactly what I wanted to see, although Pip did manage to get the weightless off. Going to make some distance, hit by concussion damage. Oh, mykl caught by the return from the reset. respawns there, wiped out by Shipa getting credit for that kill. And the push, though, it is being successfully stalled. We're seeing Pcack, not a lot of highlights of him coming through, but he's consistently there on the payload, right? He's standing there with his shield up saying, you shall not pass, and nobody's getting through.
Yes, you shall not pass. Pcack trying to do his best to stop this push. The team having to go back and heal up, and they're staggering that. So MOETORIOUS, actually WarDoom still on the front as well as Kusqt, while the other squad of SoaR go ahead and heals up right in their base. There's 10 seconds remaining. If this payload push goes in, that means D69 wins the championship. But it's looking right now that SoaR's going to be able to hold and at least give themselves a chance to capture this next capture point and potentially do the unthinkable.
Well, we say that, and they're being kept in the running. SoaR do get the perfect defense right there, not letting that payload get any closer, stalling it out at that gate. They're still in the fight right now. So 8 points still to lead District 69. It's a steep uphill battle, but it's possible to do. So what we've seen so far is that SoaR, they're not excelling so much at point control as District 69. Looking at the burn cards coming through right now, I love this. MOETORIOUS there, picking up Haven, reducing all attacks under 150 damage by 25%. That's going to help him deal with Skye a little bit better. And MOETORIOUS, in all honesty, if he gets a polymorph onto Skye, he's the best counter they have to her.
Exactly.
So it's going to come down to these ultimate coordinations and whether Bugzy is just too good for them to shut down.
Yeah, we'll see here. Bugzy coming around, looking to flank, trying to find it. This could mean victory for the boys of D69 if this goes well. Using his smoke to get out of the way. mykl trying to find him. Still on the horse, chasing mykl now. This could be a surprise attack from behind. Bugzy going on to WarDoom. Forced the rocket boots away, and now it looks like Bugzy's still alive, causing havoc, getting the boys out of dodge there, and now WarDoom could be in trouble here. Skye coming from behind. Can he get the kill? Bugzy takes down WarDoom. It's a 4v5, especially now. It looks like the teams of SoaR are not looking good. Kusqt almost dead, and Bugzy doing his work again, forcing the reversal.
Oh, Toxic Time Bomb was popped there. Kusqt getting the reversal damage onto Bugzy does wipe them out. The kills are going through. Kusqt with a quadra kill? Was that a quadra kill? I just heard the announcer say. I saw 2 kills earlier. We saw 2 kills just then, and SoaR going for the retake. They can't afford to drop any more games. They need this capture point. But what I'm not seeing right now is zone. They got 3 on the point.
Zone?
They're speeding up the capture rate, right? They got 3 there. Accursed Armor's available. That's all they're going to need. There it is. It's popped. 1 shot hits, 2 shot hits, 3 shots hits, 4 shots hits, but on 2 different targets. Elvenpath now, the player that they need to disrupt. And SoaR almost taking out that objective. Bugzy's back on the point right now. They're looking to hold this. They're looking to go for the retake. Our District 69, and it might just go through.
Oh my God, Elvenpath. Bugzy does get taken down by Pcack, but Elvenpath still alive as well. Pcack the only one there. It's at 99 points. SoaR's got to be saying, you're kidding me, but what a good Immortal. Buying some more time for the boys of SoaR to get back and fight this off again. They're at 99 points. 1 more point pushes this through, and they get themselves a chance to get back into this game and win this 3rd game and not get swept by the 3rd seed from EU. The boys of NA and SoaR trying to find some magic here, but will they have any left?
But it's not just it's just not working. Is look at that, going for the flank. It's WarDoom picked off by Skye there. Elvenpath getting credit for the kill, and not just that, Gerrah has Mega Turret available. That's what we often see saved up for the final capture point. We're going to see that pop very shortly, just to go for the full zone. Somebody from SoaR has to make it back onto the point. There's the last man standing. The Mega Turret damage comes through, and Pcack absorbs it with his shield, but it's 5 versus 1. There's nobody left to hold it, and that will be it. That is all she wrote. District 69 with a 3-0 sweep, wipe out SoaR, and take the 1st place and the grand prize.
The champions of the Paladins Founders Tournament, District 69, ladies and gentlemen, doing their best to show that EU, despite being the 3rd seed out of EU, still has some words for NA, and they're not friendly. They're not friendly. Although it was a fantastic game by SoaR and the boys. They did a great job being able to contest and adjusting things towards the end of that 3rd game. It just wasn't enough to be able to go ahead and basically make the difference that was needed.
And look at that right now. You see the thumbs up coming out of Gerrah there. Elvenpath grinning away, ecstatic that he's won. Everybody with smiles on their faces. No response from SoaR. And you know what? We talked about this all the way through. SoaR have been posturing so much, and they've played so well. They've been absolutely unstoppable.
Right.
And that's a big blow to them.
And the thing is, you know, you think the posturing is for show, but they really are good players. I mean, They have a great team. And out of NA...
They're the 2nd best team in the world right now.
That's right.
And they're phenomenal players.
They're phenomenal. Even though the score line doesn't necessarily say that, Paladins is such an interesting game. There's so much depth to it because all of the character changes and the balances, the cards you pick up, the burn cards that you pick up during the game make for a very simple but deep game. And you see there Elvenpath hoisting the trophy for D69, bringing it back home to Europe. We'll have to wait a little bit to see if NA has a chance to bring it back home to the United States. I know I'd love to see that there, but Vox, you got to be happy representing EU Must feel good to see your boys from...
I'm thrilled. And it looks like F-Dot is up on stage with the boys of District 69. Let's take a listen in with him and see what they have to say for themselves.
Thank you very much, Vox. And of course, my man, Rain Day. You guys held it down very well. But as far as the gameplay is concerned, it was all about D69 holding it down. All you guys have absolutely crushed it today. This is a small world. It's a small community. So why don't you go ahead and do yourself the favor and introduce yourself as the new champion.
As a new champion?
You're by default the new champion, but let everybody know the champion's name.
Well, I think the district. That would be the perfect name for us.
It's all about the team here, obviously, and that's really why you guys came up on top, heading all the way from different parts of Europe against the guys from North America. What was the biggest thing that you had in your mind when you were taking on SoaR?
We know SoaR, we know how they play. They talk a lot, but in scrims, they don't perform as much as they want to. So we felt really confident, especially after the Torpedo win. It just steamrolled us straight to the finals.
And I mean, even through the finals, you guys looked absolutely fantastic on top of things as things were rolling. There was a moment there that SoaR thought they might have caught something. How are you guys feeling? Were you scared at all, or was it all just part of the plan?
I don't think they've been okay with any part of our finals. I think we just completely destroyed the opposite team. And as some people say, they stomped the enemy team, but we've got a little can here saying Kun as Kungarna, and we literally stomped them.
There it is, folks. You heard it here. Stomping it down live in action. Is there anything else you want to give to the fans at home from the guys of D69?
Thank you guys for the support. Thank you for everyone who came here to watch the Paladins. And we put so much work into it, and thank you for supporting everyone.
Fantastic. These guys are the official first ever champions of Paladins, and I'm sure there will be many, many more opportunities. So get used to these faces. They're going to be on top. We're going to be here in just a couple. Stay tuned. 3:45 local Sweden time. We'll be back with some Smite.